Hello everybody, Rudolph Allen here, and as of now, it is summer for me. And you know what that means? Well, I will be having a job and getting on a schedule and getting ready to be a senior. Wow, I'm old. I will be posting more videos, and that starts today with this one. And one of my oldest friends, the AT-39 Tortoise. Now, as most of you know, the Death Star was my first Tier 10, ever. Tier 10 tank destroyer, to be specific. And to get to the Death Star, there is only one way: the Tortoise. However, the Tortoise isn't all bad news, and while you may have suffered with the AT-8, 7, and 15, the Tortoise is a real treat because it doesn't suck. Well, not as much as those three tanks, anyway. I actually didn't mind the AT-7 that much, but this is not the AT-7, this is the Tortoise. And why is the Tortoise so damn special? Well, the Tortoise, at the moment, has the highest damage per minute in the game, around 3,000, with that 120mm gun, meaning this gun reloads almost every other 6 seconds. And if you get a really good crew on this tank, which I don't have at the moment, you could probably get that reload down to about 5.7 or something along those lines, which is insane considering you do 400 alpha damage. So 400 damage every 5 to 6 seconds, that's a very powerful and highly annoying gun to get shot by. However, the penetration on the gun isn't the best, around 258 I believe, but it's definitely enough to butter your way through tanks. A lot of the tanks that you're going to be shooting at. However, for tanks like, you know, German heavies and whatnot, Russian heavies, you might want to get a little goldy. But besides that, the Tortoise is very capable of outshooting itself in any situation almost. The only drawbacks are, well, the armor and the speed. This thing is capped at 20 kilometers an hour forward. I'd give it around 10 backward. It's really freaking slow. But, you know, it's called a Tortoise, so that kind of comes with the name, right? The armor, well, on paper, it doesn't look that bad. But once you start playing the Tortoise, you realize how crap the armor actually is. It says 229 or something around the front, but that side, the sloped side on the right side of the tank, has only around 180. And while it is sloped, it's not that well sloped, and 180 is relatively easy to penetrate when it's, you know, at like maybe a 60-degree angle from any surface, any side. Anywhere else is, you know, the given 229, but on the left is a machine gun port that is very flat. And the only place the 229 actually counts is towards the lower part of the tank where it's actually angled and there's actually some armor there to protect you. And then there's the cupola. The absolutely enormous cupola that is infamous on the Tortoise, so that everyone can see from any range, any angle, and hit from any range or any angle, because it's like 100 millimeters thick. And it's literally bigger than the sun. It's so easy to hit, and it drawbacks the Tortoise so much. And you know, the armor is so meh that even if you were to sit behind and hide your cupola, you still will probably get penetrated. And as you can see, it's a very slow tank to traverse as well, which doesn't make its speed situation any better. Furthermore, getting shot by artillery absolutely sucks because your roof armor is 25 millimeters thick, meaning it can be overmatched by 75mm guns and higher. At least that's what I think. And at tier 9, 10, you know, tier 7s and 8s have definitely big enough guns to overmatch that anyway. So you might as well completely forget about bouncing stuff off your roof, because a tank could drive straight up to you, even if you're using all of your gun depression, shoot you on the top of your tank, and it will butter its way through. High explosive especially will wreck this tank, which is why artillery gives it such a bad name. However, when you start to put the gun to work, as you see here, the Tortoise actually becomes a very fun machine to play, and you can stack up the damage so quickly that it's flattering. So how I try to play the Tortoise, well, Yeah, it's called an assault gun, but by no means necessary is it an assault gun. This is a full-fledged tank destroyer. This is as classic as it's gonna get, at least in my opinion. Some of my favorite parts about the Tortoise, aside from, you know, the DPM, the gun handling, is 10 degrees of gun depression, as well as 2,000 hit points. On a tier 9 tank, given alone a tier 9 tank destroyer, that is a very healthy amount of hit points. And that surpasses even heavies in this tier, including that T10. Why? So you might be asking, why did I buy back the Tortoise? Why would I spend all that silver on a tank just to make a video with some nostalgia about grinding the Death Star? Well, you see, it's not the Death Star I'm grinding this time, and while it's not in the game yet, I do have very strong beliefs that the FV217 Badger will be coming to console, accompanied by the Super Conqueror. Now, I could have bought back the Conqueror, because playing the Charioteer and doing 4,000 damage a game doesn't lose you that many credits. In fact, it makes you quite the load. So I had a nice heap of 8 million credits sitting around. I figured, why not? You know, get ready for a tank destroyer, and as you all know, I have a TD fetish, so that explains why I wouldn't choose the Conqueror. But why not get ready? Why not get ready and prepare for a tank that is going to be like the Tortoise? Just a little bit better DPM, well, vastly better armor, vastly better speed, and quite honestly, just, you know, the Tortoise 2.0. So, why not? I enjoyed the Tortoise. I have no doubts that I will enjoy the Badger. And what better way to prepare for the Badger than to buy back the Tortoise and start preparing? Now, while there is the Tortoise in the game, there is another tier 9 British tank destroyer that tried to copy the Tortoise but failed miserably. The FV4004 Conway. Yeah, same gun, a little bit worse soft stats. But let me tell you, those little bit worse soft stats really bite you in the ass. I'm showing you some sped up gameplay of this tank because this kind of match is the usual kind of crap that I have in this stupid tank destroyer. And I was bashing the Tortoise for its armor, but this thing is worse. This thing is 50%, if not 150% worse. The armor is like 100 millimeters thick on the front, and the only way you will ever bounce anything on the Conway is, one, if you're just like hugging a corner side scraping, not even trying to shoot back at them, just hugging a corner side scraping, or if they're dumb enough to shoot you in the mantlet. But no one's that stupid. So you're going to get pinned every single time. You only have 1,500 hit points. Your DPM is good. It's very good, actually, but it's not Tortoise good. And, oh, it's just such a freaking bad tank. Yeah, it's mobile, but what does mobility do on a tank destroyer like this that has literally like 2 degrees of freaking gun depression, no armor? You know what? The best thing about the Conway I can say is that there's no grind. Even if you develop the Tortoise and get that 120, there's no grind. As soon as you develop the Conway, you get the 120. It also traverses fairly quickly with the top engine. And the top engine is a pain to grind since you get this gun from stock. But the Conway has less camo rating than the Tortoise, less gun depression, less gun elevation, less armor, less damage per minute. It's literally worse in every single way, except for the fact that it has a turret and it's a little bit faster. That's it. I don't know why I developed this tank. Maybe it's because I played the Charioteer so much and I had so much XP, I thought, why not? But now I really am starting to look back at my rash decision, because this thing is an absolute piece of crap. And I know it's going to get buffed soon, but to be honest, I don't think a new available gun will really help this tank. The 10 degrees of gun depression will help tremendously, but that doesn't change the fact that it's an absolute piece of crap. It goes Centurion fast because it has a Centurion hull. And it doesn't even go Centurion fast. It goes like, well, there's my friend the Centurion right there. See? It doesn't even go Centurion fast. And literally, you were going to have to expose the entirety of your tank. Like, I already said the gun depression was bad, but it really hits me when I see myself driving up this hill because it's so bad. It's so bad. Look at it. Look at it. Like, you might as well be a Stritzvon. The gun is basically locked in place. That's how much of my tank I have to put on the hill in order just to shoot that bat chat, who quite honestly isn't even that far below me. So, thank you, gun depression buff, whenever you come, but I'm still waiting. And the sad part about this tank is that I actually have a freaking mark on it, which means I've tolerated it for 65% of the damage I've done for it. And I don't have a mark on the Tortoise. But that's back when, you know, Radley Walters, high calibers, and marks of excellence didn't even exist on console. So, you know, to be honest, I probably would have had at least one mark on that tank anyway. Oh, but here we go. Beautiful camo rating. If I was the Tortoise, I probably wouldn't have been spotted there, but this thing's so huge. It's just so bad. It's so freaking bad. And while it does have a turret, the turret traverse is slower as Moses. So when you get flanked, you might as well just give up. There's no hope for you. Unless you can get a tracking shot. And then you can actually put your DPM to use. But besides that, I just never figured out how to play this thing. I didn't even try to play it as a heavy tank because, you know, 1500 hit points and 100 millimeters of armor doesn't really go a long way. I tried to play as a support medium tank, but then I realized my gun depression didn't count for anything, and that driving over hills was stupid. And I tried to play it as a tank destroyer, and for, you know, as you're seeing here, for some time of it, it actually freaking worked. But most of the shots that I fired in this tank literally went nowhere. I don't know why, but they went nowhere. And that's the gun depression. I can't even remotely get my gun down to shoot at that guy over this tiny hill. Yeah, I hate this tank. And those were 3 games in a row that I had played that night, and I had been tired of losing credits and just playing this stupid tank. And I don't know why I continued to play it. But, you know, maybe it was gambler's luck or something. But this battle, I actually did okay. Okay, that's the best I can say for the Conway. It's just okay. I did okay. I can't, you see that? That little hill. I can't even get my gun to shoot them at that little hill. I have to be on perfectly flat ground. I'm telling you this now. I told you this before. I'm telling you this again now. I might as well be a Stritzvon. My gun is basically locked in place. That I can penetrate. If I can hit it. And as you can clearly tell, this gun's accuracy is so much more worse than the Tortoise, and that WZ is probably going to die. And so is that Type 5. And this is what the Conway does like. Big fat targets that are in the middle, doing nothing to defend themselves from your damage per minute. Ah, yes. And I only got 2 shots off. Nice. And this shot on the WZ, I just don't know where it went. Like, what? How did that miss? Oh my god, I hate this tank so much. But I continue to play it. I don't know why. I guess in my head I'm grinding the 4005, but is that really gonna be more satisfying than this? This is like an all-time low. Even with the buff, I don't think this tank will ever surpass the Tortoise. The Tortoise is just so vastly better and so vastly more fun than this horrible tank destroyer. I think I gave it too much of a good slip because I played so much of the Charioteer, and the Charioteer was such a good tank that I figured, well, how bad can the Conway be? But then I realized that I had totally jinxed myself and that this is probably one of the worst and most unsatisfying tanks I've ever played. Hell, I think to date, and I've had like a good amount of battles. I almost have as many battles as I have in this thing in the Charioteer. But to date, I don't think I've done over 5,000 damage in this tank. The most I've done is like 4,500. Which isn't bad, but, you know, considering in the Tortoise I've capped like over 7k, the Conway is just so, oh my god, it's so bad. So, I'm with my friend the Centurion here, Aragon the Master. You've probably seen me playing with him before. But instead of doing the end of replay crap, I figured, you know, live recordings are so much more aesthetically pleasing. You could just see me aim and see my every move. So why not just go with those? So I just started doing those again. So I'm trying to play kind of like a supporting medium, I guess. You know, to be honest, I don't even know at this point. I'm just trying to do some damage. But I am trying to help my friends out here in the town. The E75 is side-scraping, though, and even if you do load gold, because this is the same gun on the Tortoise, just as worse off stats, even if you do load gold, you know, the side-scraping E75 is not fun to shoot at. But I will gladly shoot the side of your turret, sir. And I know this thing is a bad tank, but it does have DPM. And I know that I have DPM over you, E75, so you can shoot me once, but I'm just going to shoot you like 2 or 3 more times. Yeah, you like that? Yeah, you're dead. Okay. Next, Skoda. Don't really need to fire gold at the Skoda. But, you know, your reload time is so quick. Well, yeah, your reload time is so quick that, you know, sometimes you just forget what you're shooting, who you're shooting at, and just keep shooting. However, with the Death Star, it's a different story because you have no ammo and you've a toxic reload time. The same with the 4005. But, you know, not with the Conway and the Tortoise, I guess. You see, I can shoot this T-33 times by the time he shoots me. And he just fired, so yeah, you're gonna die. I mean, he might get to shoot me one more time. But, luckily, that's why you platoon with people. So they can save your ass. And also so you can sacrifice them later. So I've actually done decent this match. Yeah, decent. That's what I give it. I've put in some constant fire in the city. I've pinned and... well, I haven't killed, but I've pinned some very high value targets. And I think that's as much as I'm going to get. And while the Tortoise wouldn't have done any better than the Conway's doing right now in regards to repositioning and shooting at other tanks, I'm not going to get anything out of this. I'm not going to hit that. And I'm not going to pin it either. See? I told you. I mean, given I didn't fully aim the shot, but I feel with the Conway that probably wouldn't have gone in anyway. It's just one of those tanks that you... I just don't have faith in this tank that it will ever be a good tank. It's an okay tank, but that's the best I'm going to give it. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you tolerated, you know, me playing this stupid tank destroyer. And I will see you guys near future with an FV217 Badger. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.